If you don't know Marnie, Marnie is one of our elementary teachers, guru in tech, one of the people who jumped on the iPad pilot early on. Is there, just a show of hands, there's a couple other pilot people in this room, if they would show their hands. Kristen Lumsden, who's actually doing the next session after this. And long and short of it is, the whole point of these sessions, just so you know, this is, while it's summer and it's convenient for all of us, this is just the beginning. We kicked off some of this last summer to pilot, to test what we could do. This is a bigger stage. It got a little messed up because of all this Wonder World project, which is all these iPads that are coming now. Point is, this is just the beginning. We're going to have more sessions. We're looking at developing a couple Ed Camp type conferences just for Bloomfield Hills that will be here for all of our teachers. And this is, so like I said, other sessions will be coming. We're going to have all kinds that'll be virtual as well as in person. So just to give that. And without further ado, Marnie, DM, and Twitter. And I'll be back with sign-up sheets.
Cool. Just quickly, has anyone here been to an Ed Camp yet? Oh my God, best day of PD ever. Free, they give you lots of freebies and swag. You learn about what you want to learn about. So I was just at Ed Camp Flint like a week and a half ago. Ed Camp OU is coming up in October, and I've been desperate to learn about Minecraft. So I put up on the session board, teach me about Minecraft, please. And there were like 5 or 6 people, and we just sat in a circle in one of the rooms, and I learned about Minecraft, and I will be doing Michigan history via Minecraft this year, if I can make that work. So it's really, Ed Camps are really awesome. But today we're talking Twitter. So who has, I know you've got Twitter, who has a Twitter handle?
Meaning a name.
A Twitter name. Okay, not bad. 4 out of 6, that's a fairly decent percentage, about 66%. Yes, that totally counts. So this is my 3rd Google Doc presentation that I created. And I've been digging these comics lately, so Mrs. Anderson, look, I'm only 6 and I already have 20 followers. Cute one. And this one was very indicative for the time. We don't all follow you on Twitter, Kayla, so please just tell the class what you did during the summer. Yes, I use Twitter in the classroom. No, I do not encourage parents to get their 8, 9, and 10-year-old a Twitter handle. It is not necessary. It should be if the parents want one, a family one, because there's so much you can do, and that's what we're going to see. So found some great quotes about Twitter to start us off and get us set up. Twitter provides us with a wonderful platform to discuss and confront societal problems. We trend Bieber instead, which is true. If you ever go on to Twitter, you can look at what's trending in your area. You can see the local trends for Detroit, or you can change your city, and you can see the big topics that are coming across. And I would say at least 75% of the time, celebrities pop up. Every once in a while, a really cool tech function or ed function shows up. So like at McCall was the #1 trend in Detroit for like 2 hours. It was really neat. And this one from Jonathan, who was this quote from? Lauren Leto, who is a writer and has a really neat landing page website for a book that she wrote about using social media to connect with others. Jonathan Zittrain, I forgot to Google him. But he had a really neat perspective on it. So the qualities that make Twitter seem inane and half-baked are what make it so powerful. Who was on AOL when it first came out? And there was instant messenger, and you were chatting, and it was going super fast, and then you'd jump into a chat room, and it would go even faster, and you couldn't keep up. That's what Twitter's like at first. It's really hard to keep up. If you jump into a chat, you're going, oh no, I'm leaving. But if you sit back and watch for a while, what is half-baked and pretty crazy actually starts making sense, because you glom onto 1 or 2 ideas, and then you start a side conversation with those people, and you walk away with new Twitter followers, which means you have more people to communicate with, and you walk away with likely some resources. And we'll talk more about that as we go. This is the good one. I'll let you read this one for a second. And if you know Huffington Post, Arianna Huffington, very popular resource for happenings. But it's what is highlighted in yellow that is key. This is because this is what we expect for our students. We're not just consumers. We're not just sharing what we learned. We're not just passing it on to another source. We're adding to it. We're taking what we know and we're creating something new and sharing it out with others. And that's made super simple by Twitter. Like you were talking about earlier with the link for the live binder. You share it out, done. If you're at an ed conference, if you're at McCall or ISTE or one of those conferences and you put one resource out on the Twitter feed with the ISTE tag, you're going to get 100 new followers in like 10 minutes. And we'll get to followers. So why would you want to try and explore Twitter, especially in a classroom, especially in an elementary classroom? What levels does everyone teach? I know we have elementary in your district. 6th grade? Okay, so this is a little bit more concise audience. That'll make it even easier. Twitter is not a technology. It's a conversation that's happening whether you're involved in the conversation or not. Twitter's going on. I now have a list on my school Twitter that I follow a whole bunch of former students that are on Twitter. They crack me up with the stuff they tweet. But you know what? They tweet something not appropriate. You can bet I'll be emailing that to their parents. Or I'll say something to them myself. But it's a community, and it's a conversation that's happening, and it's kind of fun to see what these kids are into that I had 7 years ago and 6 years ago, and now that they're old enough to be on Twitter, and what they're doing with their lives. So this conversation is going on whether we feel like joining it or not. It's still going to happen around us and without us. So why would you want to try Twitter? One thing that I found, so I started Twitter in the classroom 2 years ago. And the first time I had Twitter in the classroom, I didn't have any special release form, so I could only tweet pictures of backs of heads and hands. And I was very diligent about that for security purposes. I mean, that's a definite worry. Parents really liked it. They liked to be able to see what we were doing throughout the week, throughout the day. Maybe I tweeted once or twice a day. The kids started writing things for me to tweet. I'd get quotes from them during workshop sessions. Last year, I actually had an add-on to my website release form that was very specific to Twitter and to our blog. Yes, you may show my child's face. No, you may not show my child's face on social media. At the beginning, I had all but 4 parents say yes. And then by the end of the year, I had 24 parents on board because their children didn't want to miss out on the fact that they were going to be able to be tweeted. And the parents were able to see what we were sharing. It was pictures of kids on field. We would tweet. We had that farm field trip at the beginning of the year. We tweeted the whole field trip. And the parents that couldn't be there got to see what we were doing, the ones that were following us. By the end of the year, I think I had 18 parents following us. The district might have gotten sick of me because I was tweeting, I was tagging at BHS schools constantly, showing the world all the cool things that this district does. And it's doing what we do in our classroom anyway. So the parents really, really enjoyed that sneak peek into their kids' day. And so when they got home, instead of saying, honey, what did you do today? They could say, wow, that field trip looked awesome. What did the deer do? So they can get right into the conversation. Or what were you working on in math workshop? Or what is a polygon family? So they were able to then be more specific in their questioning and draw out more meaningful conversations. Worldwide connections. Okay, so we did towards the end of the year, we do data in 4th grade, and I don't know where it's supposed to go, but I did it towards the end of the year. And so we were supposed to use the surveys. They have some cheesy survey in the everyday math where you have to do you know which one I'm talking about, Kristen? The one where you have to go and ask 7 people, do you like this, or yes or no? So instead of doing that survey, I put the kids in groups of 3 and had them pick their own survey topic, write 5 questions, thoughtful survey questions. We took some surveys as a class, we put them in Google Forms, we put them on the blog, which I'll show you, and then we tweeted it out. And they got responses. Each group got at least 40 responses from as far as Australia and Korea and Canada and Alaska, as well as all over the United States. But we connected with a class in Australia, and we were doing back and forth on the blog with that, all because of Twitter. I didn't have to use Skype. I didn't have to get district permission to drop firewall or anything like that. It was just tweeting out and connecting with other teachers and educators in classrooms around the world. And the kids got such a kick out of it. One of the groups, a group that did a survey on, I want to say favorite celebrities or favorite sports or something, they had 73 responses. And they were ecstatic. So then Google Forms puts it into graphs for them, and then we were able to analyze the data, and it was meaningful data versus TV hours watching time. Okay, have you ever seen a sentence and you just really want to correct the grammar, or is that just me? Because of Twitter's limit of 140 characters, they're great for grammar. They're great for daily language review. Find an athlete that the kids like, find a celebrity. I mean, some of them, don't even get me started on Justin Bieber. I refuse to, I don't even, whatever. But you look at how poor their grammar is because they're trying to say so much, or they're trying to be cool and they only have 140 characters. Put one up on the Promethean board. Have the kids fix it on their dry erase board or whatever. Or if we're going to have iPad minis for the kids, put them in their partnerships 2 to 1 and have them agree on and write it on, explain everything or show me what they would do to correct it, how they would correct it. I mean, so you can have grammar lessons built in. Oh, it flipped. Maybe I should put it down. Virtual field trips for parents, I already touched on that, but that was when we went to Lansing. I had one of the parents, because I always post up the pictures on our Shutterfly after the field trip, but I had one of the parents say this was the best, because this parent was supposed to come on the field trip and last minute couldn't. So they were so excited that they were able to see the whole historical museum. And they were able to see all the kids lying on the glass floor at the Capitol building, because I was tweeting those out like crazy. I will say, in field trip situations, unless you are in the building at the farm and in the building at the nature center, you don't have Wi-Fi. But if you have a cell phone, if you have an iPhone or a Droid, that's what I do. You can set up the Twitter app on your phone so you can have multiple users. So I just go to my teacher one, and then I can share that out. And actually, when I'm sharing kids stuff, I have a classroom Twitter, but we'll talk more about that. So with resources, it's been fabulous. I had a question a couple of weeks ago when I was looking for, or maybe it was even longer than that, I was looking for a new camera and and I tweeted out there, all right, friends, camera recommendations, and I got like 30. You have a question about, you're looking for something for Common Core, this skill, anyone have any ideas? Tweet it out, you'll get a whole bunch of responses back. So you have, that's that personal learning network that we talk about so much. Twitter is a huge part of it. And back to that quote, it's happening out there. Twitter is happening. These personal learning networks are growing and growing and growing, whether you're part of them or not. And it just means you're missing out if you aren't stalking, at least. Because you should stalk. Everyone should stalk once. I mean, and it's the only place that it's really legal. Unless you have the Find Your Friends app and your parents try and add you. Yeah, that's a whole other story. And also, it's really inspiring. I am unfortunately unable to jump on as many of the chats as I would like, because there are chats which are like being in a chat room, only faster, because there's usually a lot more people. There's no limit on a Twitter chat. And I'm not able to get to as many as I want to, usually because I'm exhausted and can't see the screen by the time they start at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock. But when I do, I leave. I close my browser feeling so like, oh my gosh, I've got to try that. So refreshed. And I can do it on my couch in my pajamas with my dog next to me. That's like the way EdCamp works. You get so energized by something so simple. It's just connecting with colleagues that have like-minded ideas and want to connect with other colleagues. And that's, to me, that's Twitter in a nutshell. And that's why I think Twitter is a really valuable tool in education and in the classroom. Any questions or thoughts so far? Okay, I think examples are next. Nope, wrong thing. No speaker notes. Okay, so examples of Twitter supporting learning. This is one of the Twitter birds, by the way. There are several varieties of them. This is something that, this would be an example of a great photo for where if you don't have a release. You see no faces, you see no names, but you see kids engaged. And tweeted it out, put the hashtag on it. A hashtag is like a tracking device. So if someone is looking for math workshop, I could go on to Google and search hashtag math workshop, and it would come up with every tweet sent for math workshop. So it just tags it so you can see what it is, so you can track what you're doing. It's almost like if you think about it when you put things in sections in your binders, all of this here, it's like a virtual binder. Finishing up the first of the polygon stories. They had to write stories using the polygon family tree during geometry.
Do you, do you make up your own hashtag, or you have to find one that's already existing?
You can make your own up. You can, it's nice to, so like for this, it's BHSPD is the one that we sort of created a couple weeks ago. The one for the district, 10GP, the guiding principles one. When you're at McCall, it's usually hashtag McCall 2014. I am participating in the Maccabi games are here starting Sunday. So it's JCC Mac DEET, DET for Detroit, or Maccabi Detroit. Or you can just create your own, like hashtag this is nuts, hashtag TGIF, hashtag I need wine. Yeah, you create, and then it's kind of neat to see, the more the hashtag is used, that's how it becomes trending, and that's how it kind of is a life one. I want to say that the life of a hashtag is a week. If it's not used again, it's kind of taken out of the system, and then but you can always recreate it, and you can make variations of it, and you can do, it's just a label that you would think, okay, sidetrack for a second. Has anyone used Delicious for bookmarks, or any of the sites like that? You know how you can tag it so you can see it, find it easier? That's all hashtag is. It just helps you find tweets that are similar faster. Lesson support. Our media center, we did nonfiction books, and I was showing them how to use the card catalogs. I don't know what CAT means. I don't remember what it means, I should say. And so this is showing a child using it. Again, it's a safe picture, so there's no faces, but it's one where, I mean, it's pretty active, and I know which that kid is just by his wristwatch. And the parents would recognize that as well. Piquing curiosity. This was a great one. We got quite a bit of responses on this. Guess what we are doing tomorrow morning? And then I put a whole bunch of hashtags on that just to connect it with more. The more, it's correct-ish to use no more than 3 hashtags on a tweet, because then it starts to get like you're looking for things, like you're looking for followers or whatnot. But it really, truly, the hashtag just supports what you're doing. So someone might be looking for PYP, and they would search PYP, and this would be one that pops up. Math, because it's a math lesson. But it was great, because when this went home, I did this after Halloween, so the kids were already gone. If they were on Twitter, I think I had 2 kids come back and go, I can't wait, I don't know what we're doing, but I can't wait. Because they were able, they peeked at it and saw it, and they were quite excited. This was really neat, connecting with EdTech tools. So I have connected with Kahoot, Plickers, Class Dojo, like a whole bunch of different apps and resources that I use are now following me on Twitter, which is really cool. Tween Tribune, Toontastic. So we wrote a book, our second Scribble Press book of the year. Check out how we saw this scene of Hank Zipzer and let us know what you think. So the parents could then click that link, and they were taken to an ebook that we created on Scribble Press, and they were able to see, I read a scene, and they had to draw what they thought. And it was really cool. And Scribble Press retweeted it. So it goes out to then all of their followers, which got my classroom more followers, which just meant we had more people to connect with. Posing questions. What do these things have to do with science? And this went out, and we had, not many, but we had a couple responses from some other classrooms in different areas, not in our area, taking wild guesses as to what we were doing. And then the kids had fun doing it. And I mean, these are truly, I just pulled some. I saved like 14 or 15 tweets, and then I forgot to convert all of them. And I'm like, forget it, I'm not using them all, it's too late. I'm too tired. Predicting. So I have a virtual Twitter wall. Not virtual, I eliminated my author wall this past school year because we weren't using it as much because the kids were doing more journal style writing, and then we'd publish their piece and share it. And I instead changed it into a Twitter wall where each child had their own Twitter handle, and I'll show you a picture of that next. And they were able to, so when we were done reading, or when we would stop for read aloud, okay, go back to your seat, predict what's going to happen next. What do you think Vincent's going to do in the next chapter? They would, and my rule for them was it had to be at least 16 words. It had to be in between 16 and 24 words, because that kind of does equal roughly 140 characters when all is said and done. But they loved it, and then they'd go up to the Twitter wall. So I think Vincent is going to go home and Vibs is going to be mad at Vincent and Vincent will go to bed. So, I mean, it's a valid prediction. It's actually a really good one for that child. But they had fun doing it. And so I took and I made a fake Twitter handle for each of them. It was @ and their first name. And you can download the Twitter font. So it was in, I'll show you a picture of that. But then we use this for everything. At the end of math, okay, explain how to divide. And then I'm able to do a quick sweep of the wall and see who doesn't get it, pull those few down and pull those kids over and go, okay, explain this to me. Show me what you mean. And then reteach from that. Works great for exit slips. Because we went through more sticky notes this year than ever before. But it was really cool. Connecting students. So I really got into coding this year with my kids, and they had a blast with it. And we connected with the Super Gooper brothers, the Sabin boys. Came to my room every Wednesday from January on. After school, they walked over from BH and they did coding class with the kids. And they're on the Purple Protons, which is one of the district robotics teams. And Leo is now going to the high school level and Barry will still be in the middle school. And we tweeted back and forth. I was able to share pictures with them that they were then able to use on their website because again, I'm only sharing pictures of appropriate faces. And by this time in the year, most of them were free to be shown. But the older boys were then able to use this to show that they're doing community service and they're working with kids and look how much fun we're having and look at the projects that we've created. And they connected and glommed on, and then we started tweeting to their FTC team or FLL or FRC, whatever. For FLL is First Lego League. I think they were FTC, and now they're FTC and FRC. Yeah. But they loved that. This was huge, and this is what gave me the idea to do surveys later in the year with math. So PYP exhibition, huge, big deal project, lots to do. Several of the groups wanted to gather some data. They wanted to do some surveys, and we tweeted each one out on Twitter and got tons of results. And the kids actually had to write these tweets. So they had to write what was going to say. I said, I shrunk the link. They wrote it out, and we sent it. And that's how we started getting responses. And I had done that the previous year, and it was awesome. But it opened up the world. Instead of limiting our audience to just their families and friends and the school, it opened up to the world. And they got, again, responses all over, which is a huge part of IB anyway. So this is our Twitter wall. And you can see the @ symbol, and I want to say the font is Pico. If you Google Twitter font, it'll tell you which ones to download. They're free downloads. And every child had one. This one is October 1st, fairly early in the year. And we ended up having to clear the wall like every 2 or 3 weeks just because there would be so many tweets they'd start falling down. The lesson that I learned, do not laminate it. So I laminated those blue pieces of paper underneath it. Don't laminate it because the sticky notes don't stick to the lamination as well as they stick to regular. So I spent all that time cutting and laminating, and then I took them all down this year, and I will put non-laminated ones up. And then
Did you do color coding, like math, yellow?
No, it was whatever sticky notes they had. Yeah. It was very clear because they would start getting layered and they would cover. I'm a dork and created that Twitter binder or Twitter border. It was very challenging to cut out every single Twitter bird. I don't recommend it. I think the district should order a Twitter die cut that we can borrow because that was a pain in my rear end. But the kids loved it. And it was a safe way for them to understand the concept of what you put out into the world on the internet is readable to everyone. So it really tied into this whole positive digital footprint, how to use correct social media. I can send you this picture if you want.
And can you send, there was something else you mentioned, the release form for parents?
Yes, tweet to me and I will send it to you. Or here's what I'll do. I'll get the sign-in sheet. I always take a picture of it and I'll send notes and follow up to everyone. Is anyone familiar with, oh, question?
Can you also, how do you shrink a link?
I like Goo.
Okay,
So I type in Goo shrink link,
okay.
and then it'll take me to, that's Google's one. You can just type in shrink link in Google, and it gives you a whole bunch of them. And you paste the full link into where it says, and then it gives you that shortened one. So Bitly is a popular one. Goo is the Google one. There's a Facebook one. But Bitly and Goo seem to be the popular one, the more prominent ones, I should say. Very simple to do, and I can show you. Anyone played with Vine before? I love Vine. Vine allows you to make a 6-second video clip. That's it. 6 seconds, no more. Vine is only available for iPhone. So what you have to do, iPhone is in this pocket. What you have to do is when you're in the App Store, you actually have to click on iPhone apps, and then you can download it for your, and I will show you, we'll look at it after the presentation. You can download it for your iPad also, because I had it on my iPad, that's the place that I used it. But basically what Vine does is you press the screen to start recording, you let go, you press it again to stop, then you press it to start, then you press it to stop. And when you have 6 seconds, there's a little like bar at the top, a fill bar, and when you reach the end, a little arrow shows up, and you just press the arrow. You can watch your little 6-second video, add a caption or tags, click send, and if you have linked them with your Twitter account, then it tweets out. So as the year went on, it got more challenging for me to find still pictures because I was sending so many Vines. Because then the parents are getting a 6-second glimpse into what's actually happening, and you can hear it and you can see it, and they're moving and they're excited, and it's fun. My kids, for the last 3 years, have begged me to get an Instagram for the class, and I always say no. Instagram to me does not have an educational value. But when one of my boys introduced me to Vine 2 years ago, I'm like, oh, I can see a lot of potential in this. So I downloaded Vine and got a Vine account, and we use it all the time. You have 6 seconds to get your purpose across, like the 6-word story. It's so much fun. And plus, I like to use it with my dog. And I'll show you a couple of those. So, oh, that smushed. Thinking, you might be thinking. A couple of questions. How do I manage Twitter? It's up to you how much you want to make it a part of the classroom. So I have 2 Twitter accounts that are education ones. I have Get Teaching, which is my professional one and the one that I use most during the summer and during conferences, and that's what I chat from. And then I have a classroom one that's Miss Diem's Thinkers, and that's the one that I give to parents.
Will you make a new one each year?
Nope.
It'll keep going.
It'll keep.
So last year's kids will be seen by this year's parents.
Yes.
So they can go backwards.
They can go back if they want. You can only go back a year, though, I found. Because I was trying to go back to 2 years ago when I was making this presentation, because it was all pictures that were no faces. So I was looking for more examples of how you can like go from up top and you can get creative. But it wouldn't let me go back that far. But they signed that release for social media, and it includes Twitter, Vine, it included YouTube, and our public blog. So everything is archived there. Again, no names are used with anything that I do off the private classroom website. So parents can choose to unfollow if they want. A lot of times the kids like to keep following because they like to see what's going on in the classroom. Good question.
Do you know if the district is going to be creating some type of form that would be?
The communication release form is supposed to cover.
Okay.
I do it as a CYA. Cover my butt. Yeah, that's the more important one, isn't it? I do it as a CYA, and the reason being, when I started with classroom websites, my principal was so not okay with it. It's so out of her comfort zone that she was it took me almost 4 years to convince her that I could have a safe and secure online presence for the classroom. And so then part of it was I had to have a release form so parents were aware explicitly of what we were doing. So I just continued that. We have a new principal. I don't think it's going to be as big of a deal because our whole school does the classroom websites and the communication release form has been updated. So it's more user-friendly, language-friendly for the parents, but I think that because of what I'm doing currently is not common across the district yet, I'm going, and I notice I said yet, I'm probably going to continue to use my additional release form just in case. And also part of it is it's attached to my web release. So I then, on the bottom of the web release, ask parents, what email addresses would you like me to send the invitation to? So they then give me the email addresses right there. And the way my classroom website, and this is a whole nother PD, is set up, you can request an invitation, but parents can't invite other people. So I've gotten emails, so-and-so requested an invitation to the website, and I'm like, who the heck is this? It's a private classroom website, so I email that person and say, may I ask your connection to this classroom? And they're like, oh, I'm Sam's grandpa. Okay, thank you. And then I'll verify Sam's grandpa's email address with the parents, and then if all checks out, then Sam's grandpa can check the website. But for the social media, I just want it to be, it's getting more socially acceptable now, but when I started it, it was a really big deal for kids to be exposed to this kind of media.
It is on the communications release because we tweet kids out and we put kids on websites and put kids on Facebook, so that's also.
Yeah, I mean, it should be enough, and maybe I will be able to, one of these years, stop using mine.
Like your security blanket.
You're aware of who the kids are that's signing up.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I also, as strange as it sounds, because mine goes home right in the first day packet, and I expect it back that Friday, it's really, that short window, I get them all back, and it's, I don't know. So we just talked about the security risk, which was next on the question list. Where's the time to tweet? A question that a lot of people have asked me, well, how do you find the time to tweet while you're teaching? Okay, I was walking around with my teacher iPad, which happened to be a mini, and someone would be doing something. I'm like, that's really cool. I'd take a picture of it. What are you doing? And they'd tell me. I'd type it, send, done. Or I'd be sitting at my desk, and they'd all be talking during lunch, and then someone would break out in spontaneous song. Oh, let's Vine that. Vine. Okay, done. It's as simple as that. You can designate a class. You could have a social media person in your class. Like I have a class photographer who there was a designated iPad that they always used for taking pictures. And they would just go grab it, take pictures, and put it on my desk when they did so I could upload them to the website. You can have a newscaster, so to speak, who leaves tweets for you on your desk. So that's what my kids do. They don't ever get to press send on the tweet. I don't think that's appropriate for 3rd or 4th graders. However, they leave tweets on my desk on a sticky note all the time. And they'll leave their name on it, and I'll sometimes use their initials, sometimes I'll use their name, sometimes I won't do anything. Sometimes I'll just tweet out what they said. But they do the work a lot of the time in that regards. And you saw sometimes I don't have time to write a tweet. I'll just take a picture of the sticky note. And I'll tweet that with, check it out. Very simple. Where was I yesterday? Yesterday I was at a Galileo thing. And there was so much great information, and there were this book they gave us a fabulous book that we skimmed through, and there were some great quotes, and I'm like, I don't have time to type it out. Click, crop, tweet. So I was able to still send that. It's great with Twitter. The nice thing is a picture says 1,000 words, and if you're busy and you're doing a really cool activity, take a picture, check this out, tweet it out, and you've got that. And the parents love it, and the kids find it really cool when their face is out there, and you're done. How do I connect to others? So that's the trickiest part of Twitter for me, and that's where hashtags came in handy. I put in the Twitter search bar hashtag PYP, and I searched that, and I looked for other PYP schools and other PYP 4th grade classes. And then I clicked follow, and followed them. And a lot of times teachers seem to be really good at following back, especially if it's a classroom one. People that I've connected with through EdCamp, through McCall, through the district even. Find them, follow them. The more you start tweeting things out, the more that it's going to get out there, the more people you will connect with. There are also, and I will send this to you because I did not even think to put it in until right this second, there are There have been education lists made that are fabulous that tell you who to follow. If you're in first grade, you want to follow these teachers. If you're in second grade, you're going to want to follow these. And so there's already networks. I mean, the legwork has already started, and it's going to continue to expand the more educators there are on Twitter and other social media. And you can pose questions to them. So Mrs. Whedon's class is a great class to follow because they answer. And you'll pose a question, you would put at Mrs. Whedon's class, what is the temperature where you are? Tweet that out and they can reply. And different things like that. When you get into middle school, there's, sorry, I think that might have been my phone. Oh no, never mind. Yeah, it showed up. When you get into middle school, you can follow by discipline. And something that's really neat is you can follow dead famous people. Like you can follow Abraham Lincoln. And historical facts are tweeted and quotes are tweeted. And you can follow Darwin, and you can follow Einstein, and you can follow Teach Chat. And another way to start making connections is follow the educators you like and the products you like. Follow really good stuff. They do giveaways all the time. I mean, I'm a really good stuff junkie. But you've got that resource to connect to others. Who tweets? Like I said earlier, I'm the only one that hits the send button because that's my comfort level. Anyone could change it. You could modify it if it works in your classroom. I know kindergarten classrooms and first grade classrooms where the kids tweet, and you can tell the kids are tweeting but that's their classroom teacher's comfort level. That's wonderful. It might solely be you tweeting out something in the morning and tweeting out something at the end of the day. It might be something that you do an end of the day wrap up, and you ask kids to come up with top thing from math today, tweet that out. Top thing from this today, as you reflect on the day. Reflection is a huge part of learning, especially at the lower levels. Or the paper tweets. I mean, that Twitter wall, people have come in and I've seen a huge variety of Twitter walls. You have a dry erase board. You can use like that blue painter's tape and mark it off. Use tape on names.
Our new registers are magnetic.
Our new registers.
Our new page. Oh, I'm
Oh,
sorry. That's why.
That's what the construction has been. I've been wondering every time I walk my dog.
Old. They were way older than
Yes.
everybody else.
Oh no, I know that.
Not like the Hickory Grove ones, but they're
That
magnetic,
would be
so that's an
awesome.
Awesome place to be.
That would be awesome. You could like tape on their names and they just magnet. But and then I've seen it outside the classroom depending on how your room is set up, like on the back of the door. And each child, like you laminate a sentence strip and they use vis-a-vis on it. So there's a variety of ways you can incorporate it into the tweeting into the classroom without actually having to go online even. It's all what works for what you are comfortable with, which is why, going back to what I said before, start stalking. If you're not on Twitter, get on Twitter and just start stalking. It's going to make it so you are more comfortable putting things out there once you start seeing what is already out there and what people are doing. It doesn't have to be as complicated. This half-baked, zany idea can really be simplified to what is comfortable for you. And how do I get started? Okay, sign up for Twitter. First step. The decision is, do you want a classroom Twitter account? Do you want a professional Twitter account? Do you want one that does both? So I have a personal Twitter account, which I lock. So you have to request to follow me. You can set that up. I have a classroom Twitter account, which is wide open. We want all the followers we can get. And I will say, when I have corporations follow my classroom one, I don't follow back. I only follow educators back. Because if you're not going to be offering something to my students, or on my professional one to me, I'm glad you're following me, but I'm not collecting followers. I want meaningful connections. And then I have a professional one. So I don't have a recommendation for you. It's going to be what your comfort zone is. I know a lot of teachers just have one that is professional in classroom. And that's fine. Again, my concerns about protecting because of the concerns of our principal, I created that second classroom one. Because the ed chats can get kind of, racy. They get kind of lively. And then, like I said, start stalking and follow people. You're interested in knitting? Find people that knit. You're interested in motorboat racing? Find people that are, I mean, you'll find everything. Just start following. You want to keep it all professional? Todd Nelsony, Nicholas Provenzano, Aaron Klein, Jennifer Bond. These are all incredible educators that are worth following, and then you'll meet more people. You have to follow Drew and Brad. Mike Medvinsky. Within the district itself, we have incredible people to follow. Follow the district itself, actually. Did Lone Pine start the IBPYP followers, or was that West Hills? Like that, I mean, yeah, there's all sorts of different, our school, I was so excited, we now have BHS Conant is on Twitter. So, yeah, brand new, like this week, I think.
There's like a bus one too, just.
Yes,
VHS
buses, that's right. They talked about that if you follow them for
when they were running late with the snow and stuff.
yeah. It's really kind of neat. And then a photo policy, you can go with the communication release form. That would be the simplest, I think. Or you can complicate it the way we have done at Conant.
And how do you, I like the idea of like a professional one and then a classroom one, which is what the kids are doing in the classroom, separate, so you're not retweeting like the educational things you want parents to know about, so they can follow both, but the kids don't have to see all that stuff. How is it to set it up on your thing to have two?
I will show you. And do you want to do virtual, so you're actually on, or paper, or a combination of both, which I have found works quite well. And then once you're on there, send it out to the world.
Can you clarify what you mean by virtual or paper?
Actually on Twitter,
Yes.
so you're in the virtual reality world, you're tweeting things out, or you're doing like a Twitter board in your classroom.
Oh, yeah, kids, and then you
Or just that's it. Like I've seen teachers who aren't even on Twitter.
Oh.
They just have the Twitter board. They've got there was one classroom which I really wanted to do. They had a Facebook wall, an Instagram wall, and a Twitter wall.
Okay, can I ask a question?
Yeah, please.
Part of this whole thing is understanding like what's Facebook worthy, what's Twitter worthy, what's all that.
What did Kevin Honeycutt say? He said something about just put it out there. Just doesn't have to be perfect. Put it out there. I'm not on Facebook actually that's true, but I have a classroom, a teacher Facebook, a professional Facebook, but I don't use it much. I didn't jump into the realm of Facebook. You are more than welcome to do so, and I'd love to hear how it goes, because that just was too much for me to manage, and I liked the simplicity of Twitter.
Do you think Twitter's easy?
Well, on Facebook you post things and people reply and people like it, and it's very much a two-way communication that needs attention. On Twitter, I don't think it demands your attention as much.
Okay.
You can put it out there and people will reply, but you'll get a little notification, and remember, it's only 140 characters. Or people will just like it and they'll just star it and you'll see that, and it's less demanding to me than Facebook. But again, my perspective, and there are multiple. But when I say notify the classroom world, tweet it out to BHS. We're on Twitter now, come follow us. They're really good at retweeting it, and then you will get some of those connections. Let me see what's next. A few other social media tools. But before we go into that, so here is Twitter on the iPad. I tweeted out this morning on the way here. You can see I have 3 notifications. Oh, great picture. That's okay. No, that's not bad. And yes, I did hashtag I thought I did. So in the home page, you can see these are all the tweets for my professional one. And if we look at, can you imagine a professional development starting with paddleboarding?
Whoa.
Holy cow. Yeah.
Exactly.
Did the back 40 flood?
Yeah, exactly. It did. Inner tubes though. So.
Inner tubes is better. Oh, this is a great one. So you can kind of see, and I will, if I'm stuck at the doctor's office, because on the Twitter app you can have multiple usernames in there. If I'm stuck waiting, which is where I'm going next from here, that's when I'll catch up on my Twitter and I'll read.
From here, David, where it looks like there's more.
Yeah.
Oh, God, I didn't even realize it's like, I didn't even. So then if I go to me, I can go to the people peg, and you can see my 2 accounts.
Where are you? You're
On me.
Get Teaching is my professional one, and then Ms. Diem's Thinkers.
okay, this is gonna sound really dumb. For those of you that know how to use Twitter, but where do I put in her name to get her?
I'll show you.
On this page.
No, I don't even
do
do
I-
search.
The magnifying
Oh, the
glass.
little, okay.
The magnifying glass up here, you would put it in. So this is, and I haven't put,
Yeah.
That does not sound silly.
yeah, there are no silly questions, especially for this. So you can see,
What is your teacher one? Again, not your class one, the other one.
the teacher one is Get Teaching.
Okay.
So it's as simple as switching between. Now, I'm not sure about email addresses. So I have Get Teaching is my district email. But several years ago, I created a Gmail account for my classroom. That's Ms. Diem's Thinkers. And so that's the email I use for that one. So I don't know if in order to have 2, you will have to have a second email address. I will say Ms. Diem's Thinkers, that email address rarely gets checked because it's,
Can you just forward that email?
I could. It is solely pretty much used for Twitter. That's why it was created. And it goes that way. David, correct me if I'm wrong. Can you sign up for Twitter on the app, or do you have to go to the website to do so?
I just signed up. I just downloaded the app and I just signed up.
Cool. All right. What is your, so let's see, what is your, so this is how you search. I go to the magnifying glass in the corner. I need a laser pointer. You go to the magnifying glass in the corner, and you can see what I've recently searched. Saves them. And what is your name?
At Lumsden Way.
At? Did I spell, is it
I
DS?
think it was Lumsden Way. L-U-M-S.
L-U-M-S.
Yep.
D-E-N way. There it is.
There you go.
Click it. And I'm going to follow you just by pressing follow, and it turns blue.
Look, you created,
And
you
then
already have
whip
7
yourself away from
followers.
Wow.
At Lumsden Way.
I wonder if
See, I didn't really want it to be me. I wanted it to be my class.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
now you're showing me how it's showing up.
I found me too.
So I wonder how I change that name.
let's see.
Like, I don't want it to be me. I want it to be.
Let me go back to me, and let's see how you can change it. By clicking on the settings, edit profile.
Where'd you find it?
It's under.
Yeah, and then where it says name, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the,
Okay.
I don't know if you can change the hashtag itself, or the at you cannot change,
You'll be able to change it.
but you can change the name. Okay. So if I go back to Kristen, and I see who I am following, you're just going to be right on top.
Okay, there we go. I'll just change the name.
So I'll go back. Back. All right, how are we doing?
I already have what I think I'd call my professional. How would I create a classroom one?
I think you might need a second email address.
No, I think I'm doing it right now. If you click on the people. And then
Ah.
create new account.
That's great.
What'd you just do?
Will it let
So
you?
I'm going to see right now
See if that'll work.
if,
It's people, the little people peg, and then if you already have an account, but you want to create another one for your classroom,
Oh.
okay.
click the plus and then see if it goes through with the same email. That would be awesome. Twitter is really good about, I think they're really good about keeping the app up to date.
Because they're
Facebook
realizing
pisses
people
me
don't
off.
necessarily have computers. Like at home, my computer's so outdated, I don't use it.
Right, it's all on the iPad and
Yeah.
phone.
So if I can't do anything on the iPad, it has to wait till I get to work.
Right. No, I hear ya. And so they've changed things because you used to not be able to sign up on the app. You used to have to go and do all of that on the website. But they're really good about, at least I think that was the way it was.
So I
They're
just
really
made
good.
it a
Same,
second one.
same email address?
Yeah.
Awesome.
And they're both at the same email.
Add a new one.
I added,
She created a new one.
so,
Add existing would be if I wanted to add my personal one to this app. So I have from a different device. If you're looking to create one for your classroom, you're going to want to create a new one, and that's awesome.
And you use your same email?
Same email. So you can do that. You can have your bloomfield.org, and you can have 2 Twitters, a classroom and a professional one with bloomfield.org. That's awesome. Very excited. So who did anyone else just create, or is there anyone else that I need to follow?
yeah.
All right, I'm going to pop down for a quick second to Vine. So I'm trying to go back to when we were in the classroom, and I actually have examples of classroom stuff to share. Oh, Chicken and the Wolf. We were at the nature center, or we were at the farm. This is Vine. It's a 6-second video, and then it loops itself. So there's that one. See, this one was funny. Seed dispersal. But I think this is the best. They had to disperse the seeds the way different kinds of animals did, and this, yeah, this group had to poop it. This was at the orchestra concert, and because I don't know all the kids, because it's a combination, I'm behind them, so I made sure not to get faces.
Hey, it's just faces you need permission for?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you just can't show a full. Field days. Oh, this was our end of the year party. The pie eating contest was hilarious. Here is. They were describing their space pods. So it really, coding. It's just, Vine was really a fun way. It's like the next step above pictures. And you connect it to your Twitter account, and then when you send it to Vine, it automatically goes to Twitter. The nice thing about Vine also is if you don't want it to go out to even to the Vine world, you can just save it to your iPad or your device. And it will save it, and then you'll be able to attach it to an email or post it to your website or something if you don't want it in the whole world. But it's really it was just a fun, and the kids really, they liked this because I have a lot of kids that were already on Vine.
So you did it for your iPhone or your iPad? Or both?
And then that's my friend's daughter in her Elsa cape.
So
Um,
even though it says iPhone only, it'll go to your
Yeah,
iPad?
it's on we're in the app on an iPad right now.
Oh.
It is large size, so this is the actual size on the iPad.
So it might be a little blurry.
Just the viewing of it, but the
Right.
video is crystal clear.
Right.
Oh, what did
But
she?
that's what happens.
Look at the
with
bunny.
iPhone apps on an iPad, is if you make it the full screen.
It's not even that bad.
So it might be blurry, but you can get all the apps on yours.
Okay.
So this is a fun little add-on to Twitter. All right, let me see if I can do this. Oh, it automatically, this is really cool. Wrong thing. I want this. So there are a few other social media tools that I want to introduce that work really nicely in conjunction with Twitter, in place of Twitter, not in place, they work really nicely in conjunction with Twitter, and they're more for you as a professional. The first one is Remind. Did anyone use Remind 101 last year? Love it. It's a one-way texting feature. It's an app that allows you to text your class, but they can't text back. And even better, you're texting from an anonymous number that they save as Miss Diem's class. That's how it shows up in the parent's phone, and you text them, and they can't get back to you. It's free. It changed. It used to be Remind 101. This is the icon for the app. The neat thing is you can...
Still shows up under both.
Under both, okay. The neat thing is you can manage it from a computer or your phone or your iPad. And what I really like, a new update that they put in this summer, is you can send pictures. So if you do have more secure pictures that you want to send or something, or parents that don't allow that, It also,
Can this only send to phone numbers, or can it send emails?
Phone
And
numbers.
Is there a limit on the text?
I want to say it's 140 characters. It might be 160 characters like a regular text, but I think it's more. Yeah, I think it is. It might be a little more. I don't remember. It's summer. But what's
Because I usually use a class email list, and I would think, what would be the difference?
well, the difference is what research has shown is parents will read like 20% of what you post on the website, 60% of your or 50% of your emails,
Right.
and like 90% of your text. Because a text is immediate, it comes through, it's short, it's a snippet. It's picture day is tomorrow, it's remember your field trip money, it's we're going to the zoo on Wednesday. And what's really neat, it's also the math test is tomorrow. Which our class, the Shutterfly website send those same reminders, but they send them to email.
Right.
But what's also kind of neat is you can go in and sit down at the beginning of September and look at your big events, okay, curriculum night, conferences, this, and you can set up the reminders to go out on certain dates. So you can preset that so it's all scheduled.
Your text ahead of time.
Only from the computer though, so at school. But you can do instant texts, and it's group, so it goes to the whole group. You can have multiple classes, so if you're teaching multiple sections of a class, you can have like hour 1, hour 2, hour 3. I
You'll
believe,
be able to do it from the iPad if you go to
try it.
their website.
It might be worth trying. I haven't tried that.
Instead of using the app.
Yeah.
There's some things you can only do from their
From the what? Yeah,
Catfish or whatever, things like that.
exactly. It would be worth a try. The other thing with Remind 101, it gives you the ability to send to a group as small as 3, so you don't have to send to everyone, but you can't send to just one. That's part of the security and safety. If you're sending to just one parent, that should probably be not a quick reminder. But if you have like 4 kids that forgot their permission slip, you can send it to just those 4 kids. But it's truly like it was designed for teachers to use to manage the classroom. And it's really quite nice. And the parents really loved it. So my suggestion would be to encourage you to set up your Remind 101 account. You create the setup, so like my parents from last year still might be in my account, but I'm not going to be texting them anymore because I have a new, it's Mistium 2014-15. And have that in whatever you send home on your first day packet or whatever you email out. And give them the directions. It's very simple. You send a text to this message, and then you put in your information, which is usually just name, teacher, and phone number, and you click go. And then the teacher gets that text, approves it, and they're added to the group, and you're done.
So they need to
The
include
parent
that,
needs
you
to,
don't include-
correct.
Okay.
So this is a service you provide for the parents that is really easy for you, but they actually have to sign up.
And do they have access to your phone number?
Nope. They give you a fake
This is
phone
add
number.
students and parents, you're just saying, you're putting their email, but they have to put their number.
You don't even, when it says add students and parents, you could put in their phone number, but I don't.
You just tell them.
I just give them the code or give them what to text to,
Where's
and
my code?
I'll have to look. I don't know.
Okay.
I haven't set up mine for this year yet. So it's a neat communication tool that doesn't take much, and it is really, parents were very appreciative when they got those quick reminders like at 7 o'clock. And it's funny because it even gives you, when you go to send a text and it's like 8:30, they say, isn't it a little late to be texting your students? Or something like that. And so when I send the reminder, and I've gotten emails from parents after they read the Remind 101, totally forgot, is it okay if I instead? Any questions about Remind 101? Pinterest. Anyone in here on Pinterest? So Pinterest is, as everyone, Pinterest, picture an infinite bulletin board that the whole world can post on. And it's got limitless creative ideas for everything imaginable, and even things that you couldn't imagine. That's what Pinterest is. And it has become such an education tool that when I first jumped on Pinterest, it was really cool because you could download all these free resources. And then people got smart and started linking the resources from their Teacher Pay Teacher store instead of from wherever, or just uploading it. So it was promoting themselves and making a little money. There are so many lesson ideas and tools, and there was something our first grade, I think, did. Several ideas, I'm sure, but the one that got me, that stood out the most is they did something for Earth Day with globes and glitter and blue paint, and it was a really neat project that was up in the hall that they did. And I asked, where'd you find that? Pinterest. It's kind of like, where'd you learn that? The internet. He's a French model. The internet. It is dangerously addicting. I can spend hours on Pinterest. Yeah, I have it on my phone for boredom purposes and when I can't sleep.
One thing leads you to another thing, you start searching for something.
I will say, my friend made cupcakes for my brother's baby naming, an open house last weekend, and the recipe came from Pinterest, and it was so good. Pink lemonade cupcakes with a marshmallow cream frosting. Oh, they were so good. And I mean, you find everything. And it's kind of neat just for you to have that person. This is not something for the classroom per se, it's for you to use in the classroom. The resources and ideas that you can find are just, I mean, type in what you're searching, what you want to teach, and you'll get picture resources. Not all the time directions, not everything is accurate, but you'll get the visual that might say, oh, I can do it this way, and help you springboard. Questions about Pinterest? All right, so we've had a public class blog for almost 3 years now. I'm not saying go out and do this. Twitter, I think, is more effective than a public class blog, and more, it's like a good stepping stone for comfort level. So we have a class website that is secure, private, password protected, where all of the pictures go, where videos go, where permission slips go, where I post math reviews and parents can download and all of that. And it's invite-only, password protected. But then a couple of years ago, I started a blog for the class, and it's called Tweet Write, because tweet and write, I don't know. But the kids started writing articles, so I'd take a picture and give it to a child and say, okay, write an article about this, and a group of kids would write an article, and then we'd post it, and then we would tweet the link out. So it was giving the kids a broader audience for their writing. And then it grew into, oh, let's share this, and let's get survey data, and but it's more genuinely, a blog is usually a private journal or a public journal that someone writes. It's more of our classroom blog, so you can see what is happening and what we're doing throughout the year. And the kids write about 90% of the articles, and so they have to really polish them and practice them and get things rehearsed. But when they know that they are audience, as we know, an audience makes everything more exciting. When they know that they've got a huge audience that will potentially read what they're writing, it makes them want to put more into their writing. So there will be times where someone will be sharing something with me during Writer's Workshop, and I'll go, oh my gosh, this is wonderful. I'm so proud of how well you polished it. Can we publish it on the blog? And they just beam, and they'll make an illustration, and I'll take a picture of the illustration, and I'll put it on as the picture for the story, and put it up there.
Do you have them retype it, or do you take a picture of the...
I'll take a picture of the illustration. In 4th grade, I'd make them type it. In 3rd grade, I'll probably have to be typing it for a little while, and then they'll start typing it. But in 4th grade, it's really nice because they could just go right onto one of the computers in the classroom and go open Word and type it up and then save it in the server, and then I could pull it up. I'm hoping to do that with Google Docs this year, but got to see how that rollout goes.
What kind of things were they writing about?
Well, let's take a look. Darn it, the link doesn't work.
You had one blog for the classroom versus each student having their own...
Well, each student had their own blog also, but that was on Kid Blog, and that was a private journal. And that's a totally different
That's what I want to start with.
Kid Blog, kidblog.org. Fabulous. It was set up so that each child had their own. It was like a virtual notebook, and they could only see their own writing, and I could write back. So they would post something, and then I could, you can set it up so they can only see their own, or you can set it up so, everyone can see each other's. But in a conversation with a colleague, because that was my original, I wanted to set it up so everyone could see it, we could tweet it out, they could get responses. But then a colleague and I were talking about it, and in this case, if it was their own private, the conversations that the student and I had were really cool. And I learned things, and it was an outlet for some of the kids. I had a handful of kids that just had some real struggles at home. So it was really nice for them to have that outlet, and we just communicated back and forth. Fourth. But first grade, you could totally probably do it wide open.
Right.
And that would be fun, because I did it as homework. Once the kids got really good at it, so starting in November, they had to do 3 posts a week at home instead of regular writing. I used it for paragraph of the week. So this is TweetRite. This is our blog. That picture has no faces showing. I picked it intentionally because of all the leaves falling. It doesn't really detract from the fact that all the faces are blurred, because this was before I had permission to use pictures on Twitter. So this was responses. They had to analyze the results of their data for the survey. The archive. Take their surveys. That was a commercial. The games they created. So this was bookmarks for Reading Month. We did a bookmark contest. So this article was Blake's. This was Chloe wrote about the Ford field trip. This was just captions, I think, about playing with the Makey Makey. I mean, some of it was fairly simple. International trade. So the kids then, in some of the cases, they had to write just captions for pictures. I don't remember who wrote this one. They didn't sign it. But here's our Twitter wall. Comic Life. So we wrote about everything. If I had a picture for it, they would write about it. And it was often something that kids would do when they were done with something and they wanted to do something else. I would hand them an iPad, because at the time I had 8, I'd hand them an iPad and show them so what I would do is I always put the pictures up on the blog, and then show them the blog, and they would scroll through and say, okay, we're going to write the article for this. So they'd already have the pictures posted, and then they would write the article. This is Blogger.
Okay, this is through an app?
Blogger has an app, and they are web-based. Okay. And you can use that, you can go on Chrome or Safari to the blogger.com site. Okay. And that's how I do most things. But the kids really got a kick out of it. And it goes back. It's nice because it archives everything. So if I go to 2012, which is when we started this, off to the Capitol.
And how do you set permissions on who sees that?
This one is public. This one is wide open. And we did that on purpose. This is part of the permission. I don't know why it shrunk like that.
Can you set parameters for it?
You absolutely can. You can set it so it's an invitation only. You can set it so it is not invitation only, but only people that have the website can get to it. So like you can send the parents the website, but keep it hidden from everyone else, so they'd have to set like that bookmark. Or you can have it completely, or you can just invite certain people to it also. Lots of options. The internet does that. It gives you lots of choices. Why is it shrinking like that? So very short article at the beginning of 2012. And I embedded our Twitter feed in it, and then we've got our little map that I added. The kids loved seeing where people were. So it was just another fun way to show the kids that there is more than just what's in our classroom, our building, and our community.
If you're doing all of these, why do you also need a class website?
Because the class website is, I think it's very different. I think it's a private resource for our parents only. There's a calendar that has events and due dates, the permission slips, the curriculum night presentation, math resources, other homework links, and that's like their go-to, their virtual classroom. The blog is developed as a writing project to get the kids more excited about writing, and it's open for anyone. And it isn't all the nitty-gritty and nuts and bolts that the class needs to know, but it's kind of like, hey, look what we're doing in here. And hey, we need help with this project. Can you take this survey for us? And Twitter is Twitter.
It seems like a snapshot, but you don't have to cover everything.
Right.
This is what unit we're on and that.
Exactly, and that's, I don't send newsletters home anymore. They just get posted on my website, and then the website sends the email reminder, newsletter's been posted. And I don't, so that isn't,
What website were you using?
we use Shutterfly.
Okay, are we supposed to, is there a Google website that we're supposed to be going to now?
Not terribly user-friendly for elementary level.
Okay, so continue with Shutterfly this year.
Yeah, are you on Shutterfly also?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be, you guys are on Shutterfly too?
Love it.
Isn't it awesome? And I love that the parents only have to log in once.
I feel like they don't check it.
They don't check it, but they get
Because they're
emails.
constantly asking questions.
When did you start with it though? Did you launch,
of the year.
you launched it at the beginning of the
A year and
year?
a half ago I started it.
Okay, because
I think a lot of us use it.
it helps if you launch at the beginning of the year, and it helps if it's school-wide. So we have it school-wide, and the parents love it because they need to log in one time, and they can then go to their name and get to their kindergarten kids site, their second graders site, and their fourth graders site.
But have you looked to see which parents use it and when?
It's, yes, and it's the same parents that never checked backpacks before that don't know. I mean, it's the same, this way we just know. I would say probably 70% of my parents checked it weekly because they would check it on Sunday when the email reminder went out.
Mine too.
Yeah,
I would
that's,
just use the email, whatever was in that, even when I would say, that doesn't include everything. Make sure to go check more detailed.
see, I didn't
Do you
even,
think your kids were encouraging their parents to check it?
They're older.
probably. Well, I'm third grade this year, and I've been using Shutterfly for 4 years now, so, and I'm third grade before.
Now,
They do, and I think part of it is though, I don't give any information out via email. They are trained to do that, and it's nice because if a parent comes to me and says, I didn't know, I can point them to the website and show them, because I archive the newsletters. If you do the newsletter and journal, it archives them all. So they then go, I can, look, I sent it 3 weeks ago, click.
have you found a user-friendly way to have them sign up for conferences there? Because that's why we
Yes.
abandoned it.
Oh, yes, there's the simplest way ever, and I can show you how to do it.
We tried last year and we abandoned it and went back to Teacher Web because we were like, everybody gets it, you know, how to sign up for conferences.
No, I can show you, it
figure
is
out through
super
Shutterfly.
simple.
Okay.
I loved how simple, that's part of the reason why I picked Shutterfly is because of the ease of use for sign up and how you can have multiple signups.
First time last year.
And what I
We
did,
probably were doing it wrong.
I'll show you. We have a couple teachers in the building that still don't get it and do it a little differently. And it's, I should have done, I have a Shutterfly handbook that I did for my McCall workshop.
I just had my own Shutterfly account. We all had Teacher Web together, but I had my own Shutterfly account for pictures
Yeah.
because all the other stuff.
And a lot of parents are familiar with Shutterfly because they use it for pictures
Right.
themselves, because it's one of the
Right.
few useful ones left. Okay, so as we wrap up, and then I'll take questions, just a note for you. On Twitter, we get excited if someone follows us. In real life, we get really scared and run away. It's okay to follow. It's okay to be a Twitter stalker right now. And that's how you're going to build that network and communication for your students and for yourself. And as we think about what we kind of covered quickly in the last hour or so, Twitter is not a technology, it's a conversation, and it's happening with or without you. So the question is, are you ready to join that conversation? Because it only takes one tweet. I mean, you could set yourself the goal of one tweet at the end of the day, even after the kids leave. When you get back to your desk, you could tweet one thing out that happened that day and get yourself going that way.
when you follow, I'm guessing you follow a lot of people, how do you, I mean, I feel overwhelmed whenever I go in and start seeing the feed because if you're not constantly on it, that feed grows so fast.
All right, so I figured out
About,
you can turn the emails off.
Okay.
Totally, I turned it off. The only time I get an email is if someone sends me a direct tweet, like tags at Get Teaching in it. So here's a feature that I recently discovered. Well, about a year and a half ago, I discovered lists, and then I discovered how to make them within the last year. You unfortunately can't make lists from the app unless that's changed, or hopefully it will change, but you can make lists from the website or from a computer. So if you are on your home page for Twitter, and then you scroll down, you have this thing called lists down here. So I have put people into different lists that and if I want to check out my old students, or if I want to go into Dawn's PLN, that list, which I'm a part of, then I'm only seeing those 17 people or those 50 people or those, like you could create, I'm hoping it would be really cool to create one for each building. So you have your Lone Pine list, your Way list, your Conant list, your BH list, that kind of, so you can follow just what your teachers in your building are doing. Or set up so some of the other lists, and I have some that I have not published, but
Said we can't create, well, maybe the ad, I wonder if the ad here, create list.
oh, that's awesome. They updated it since I tried. And creating a list is let's do it. BHS peeps. So, district. It's not private. So I just created a list and add members. Let's see. Mike Medvinsky's now in. So you are, who else is in here? BHS Schools is in. BHS Conant is in. BHS, and you may very well get an email that says you've been added to a list. Or, not an email, check your notifications. Over here, the notification side will be the one that will often tell you that people have added you to lists or people are following you. But that's how to narrow down your...
Okay, so then when you're on your home page, you scroll down to lists, and you only look at those lists. You don't look at all, whatever.
I don't have to go through, no.
Okay, 'cause I'm like, that's just overwhelming to me.
It is, it really is. So here's the BHS list so far, which I will build up.
I feel like I'm
Yeah.
behind by the time I
Me too, I didn't even bother.
by the time you're at the bottom of the feed, the top of the feed is 10 feet.
Here's another
higher.
trick that's helpful. On your homepage, if you go to the favorites, these are the things that I've favorited. And I favorite things when I want to go back to look at them later. So it's kind of like a bookmarkable.
And I'm confused with all these, like the arrows, the double arrows, the single arrow.
This one is reply. So
Okay.
it sends a tweet directly to this person.
Okay.
This one gives you the opportunity to just retweet it. So you share that same tweet with someone else, or you can quote the tweet. So you can add something to what they said and then send it. And this one puts it in your favorites or means you like it.
Okay, and why are there 6 stars?
Because 6 people have liked that one.
Oh, okay.
3 people have liked this, one
These are
person's
all
liked.
ones that you're one of those stars. Like the top
Yes,
one.
all of these are things that I have starred. Otherwise, they wouldn't be in here.
Means you're the only one.
Yep.
Favorited it. Okay.
And this one right here, I have to add Angie. This was yesterday, so I retweeted what she said and favorited it. And that's why it's in my favorites list. Because you're right, the feed goes ridiculously fast, and you're scrolling down, you're looking for things, and you see an article that sounds like it would be a good thing to read, just click the star. And then you can go back to your favorites when you have time and read it, and once you've read it, you can unfavorite it or just leave it there.
Okay, so when I joined last week, and, you know, like Stephanie, my friend, tweeted me or followed me, and Haley, and I responded, you know, with something. Are they the only ones that can see that when I replied to them?
No. Anyone can see that.
Only, but isn't it only people that follow both me, Stephanie, and Mary if she did it to us?
Like if it's just back to them.
If it's just back to them, I still think anyone can see it. It will show up on their Twitter wall. So if I were to go to Angie's, and if I look at her feed, I can see other things like that she has tweeted. Even if she's sent it to someone.
Okay.
If you don't want them to see it, you send a direct message, which is the envelope.
Where's the envelope?
On your home screen,
Okay, got it.
when you're back under you click that and you'll, what does it click, new message or something?
That's why I might just email.
Your direct message, I see. Start
Yeah.
a conversation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not
Right, agreed, because you only have 100, at that point you only have 140. You still only have 140. Twitter is more, it is that public conversation.
Unless it's someone you don't personally know and you only know them through Twitter.
Right.
Okay.
Okay,
So So
Then you can DM them, can I have your email?
I'm still gonna ask a question.
Please.
Okay, so the reply is the arrow pointing to the left, I understand that.
Mm-hmm.
The tweeting, this is where I'm kind of lost. So if I were to tap the up-down arrow to under feed the teacher, does that then mean that I have said that I like that? Is that what you said?
Here, let's, it retweets it. Let's find something really quick.
Okay.
Not that spider.
And everyone would know that I retweeted that, correct?
Yes, so I'm going to look. This is a shortened link. Ben Gilpin. I'm going to click the link. And honestly, I don't read all the articles every time. I don't have time. But if there's something good that I want to come back and read, close reading.
Yeah.
Rereading 10 questions close readers ask. But and looking at this looks like there's some useful tools that I'm going to want to look at later. So I'm going to go and hit that double arrow, and I have the option to just retweet it, which sends it out exactly as it is
And why do I
to
limit
everyone that follows you.
That's what I thought.
Okay, because otherwise they wouldn't be able to see.
Exactly. It
But if
sends
you put a star, then you can go back to your favorites later.
later.
And it doesn't.
Or I'm going to quote this tweet and go, saving for later looks like
So the
a
star
great-
isn't like a like button like on Facebook. It's different.
It's twofold. It is showing, it is liking the post,
Okay.
but then it allows you to go back and check what you've liked.
Is that how you like things?
That's what I do.
I'm looking at my favorites now, and it's like, well, why did I put those?
You can like them, but
The stars. Okay.
you can like them. I'm hoping Twitter comes up with a save feature, kind of like Facebook did, so that you can save the links that you want to read for later. What I do hold on, looks,
It has a save link?
yes,
I didn't know that.
Sometimes when it says to send, I'll just email it.
to myself. That's
I like the favorite better, that way I don't have like 50 emails.
true. But so I will show you that one also. In our school, ooh, that's kind of cool.
I didn't know.
So if I click this, because it looks kind of neat, free posters, heck yeah, I will then go to the 3 dots that showed up. So we have reply, retweet or quote, favorite, and you can see 23 people retweeted, 17 people favorited it.
What are what's
The 3 dots gives you the ellipses. You can mute them, so it kind of turns them off. If, like, right now on my personal Twitter, there's a Woot off going on my Woot site where I get my fun shirts and some other cool stuff, and I don't want to get 1,000 tweets from them today. So I muted them this morning. And then I'll turn them on tonight, and they won't clutter my feed. You can copy the link to the tweet. I send to reading list. What does that mean? I don't know where my reading list is.
Is it underneath somewhere?
I don't know, we're going to check. What I usually do is mail the tweet to myself and then read it later.
I like that. There are times though, my husband will send me tweets and sometimes they don't open. Like he'll send me things and it's like, I don't know what exactly
What
it
he
is. I
sent.
click on all the different things.
And it doesn't come
I'm
through.
like, I don't know what
I-
I meant to send.
Let's see what the reading lists, let's see,
Like, it
do I
doesn't open.
have?
But it doesn't open the same way as it, and then makes sense.
I don't know, we'll have to, I'll play with the reading list. Member of, oh wow, I forgot about this. I'm a member of a lot of lists. So there are other
That
ways
means those people have put you into
into a
list.
list. So you're by the end of today will probably be members in in the BHS list.
Oh, so you have a BHS list.
That's what I
Everyone is-
just started, BHS
Okay.
peeps.
Okay.
And I'll add everyone from the district that I know into that list, because then if I want to just see what's going on in the district classrooms, then I can hit that. Currently,
Sorry if you've already done this, but how would you tweet? And then why would you put a hashtag or?
the hashtag connects it to the topic. So if I'm tweeting out and I put the hashtag PYP, anyone that goes in, and let's actually do a search for that. Let's search, let's search EdChat. So all of these tweets have been tagged with EdChat. And you can see it's bolded. If we search for math workshop, Help if math workshop. It gives me all the tweets that have been tagged with math
So
workshops.
when you do that math workshop, you just do it as a service to the people to share with your
Mhm.
ideas with the people you don't know.
Yeah, you're connecting.
Okay.
So you don't put the actual hashtag symbol into the search box ever?
You don't have to, you can, it doesn't hurt anything. It's not, just like you don't have to put the @ symbol in to find someone's name, you don't have to put the hashtag in to find the symbol. It still works either way. Any other questions about Twitter? Please feel free to email or tweet me. I will get a picture of the sign-in sheet, so don't go anywhere with it yet, please, David. And I will send this and some of the other stuff that we talked about.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Bernie.